Hello and welcome back to the Whole Nine Yards. I am bringing you an episode relating to Vassal and how to use the Vassal module for Wing Leader. There is a large community that uses Vassal to connect with players around the world. As we all know, in the wargaming genre, it is usually fairly difficult to find players who are interested in this style or genre of games. And Vassal is a great platform, it's a simple platform for allowing people to play and find other players that play these games, and to play live play using an internet connection, or using asynchronous or offline play, where you can create a log file, make your moves, email it, upload it to Dropbox, whatever means you use to notify your opponent. They likewise can then look at your turn, your log file that you sent them, add their own comments, take their turn, send it back. All of that is play by email, PBEM, as you often see it you talked about in the community. So what you need to do to get started, and that's what I'm hoping to accomplish, is this quick tutorial on how to get started with Vassal. You will see, you will need to open your browser, any browser, and go to vassalengine.org. This is the main page that it will be brought to, and you will need to start by downloading the Vassal software. The software is looks like this once you launch it, after it's installed. When you launch yours, there will be this page will be blank. You will not see all of these listings here. These are individual modules for the software that you can download and use within Vassal. So when you launch yours, actually you probably won't even see the server status. I'm going to eliminate that so you won't even see that. This is basically what you'll see, minus any modules. Then what you'll need to do is, back on the Vassal webpage, go to modules up at the top, and this is a listing alphabetically of all the modules. There are thousands of them, and we're going to go look for Wing Leader, so in the W section, and we're going to scroll down till we find Wing Leader. And then in this page, you'll see the core Wing Leader module. This is what you'll need to download to play. And so you click this link, you download it into a location. I recommend setting up a folder on your C drive where you put all your modules. It just makes it easier to find them and navigate to them. So you'll download this, and then once it's downloaded, you'll pop open your Vassal page and you click File, Open Module, and then you navigate, browse to that module that you downloaded for Wing Leader. Once you do that, it'll go through an import process. You'll see a status window pop up that shows it importing all the images for the file, for the game, and then you are in. So I will go ahead and launch mine. Now, I'll talk about extensions in a little bit, how you get more content into the module, because the base module is a little bit stripped down, doesn't have everything in it. So once you've imported the module, double click it and it will load up. And if this is your first time importing a Vassal module, you will get prompted to input a name and a password. Don't worry about, you don't have to memorize a password, or it's not super useful except when you're playing by email, it just keeps other people from opening up your log files and playing as your side in the event that there's hidden pieces or hidden cards. But for Wing Leader, we don't have that. But once you've done that setup process, you ought to come to a screen that looks like this, where you can start a game offline, look for a game online, or load a saved game. We're just going to start a game offline, and we'll show you this. All right, so here we are in the Wing Leader module. It's a little zoomed in, and one of the quickest tools you'll need to learn to use is the plus minus magnifying glass up at the top to zoom out. We can zoom out and see the whole map, or the plus to zoom back in. And so here we are. We're into Vassal, and if you're familiar, you can probably get right into it. I do want to explain some things for the Wing Leader Vassal module that I think may not be completely intuitive, even if you're familiar with Vassal. I just kind of want to show you how specifics for this one work. If we go back to the main Vassal page, you will want to download and install each of these extensions. And again, if we go back to the web page, those are all listed right here. Wing Leader Blitz, Eagles, Victories, Origins, Fandom, this is fan-created content, charts for the game, and all the ADCs, all the aircraft data cards. So download all of those, and then once you've downloaded them, you'll need to add them to the module, and you can do that simply by right-clicking the module and clicking Add Extension. And then you have to do this every time to add each extension. Click Add Extension, browse to that section, wherever you save your modules, find the extensions, and then add them. And once they're all showing here, then double-click Launch Vassal again, or launch the module again, and it will load them all up. If they loaded successfully, you'll see in this message window at the top all the extensions you've got added. So, all right. So what are the basics for getting into using this module for Wing Leader? Well, up at the top here, we have wing displays. There are 4 of them. The colors basically that came in Victories and Supremacy. So if I click the blue WD, it brings open the blue wing display, a separate window, and I can drag and drop pieces from the counters to set up my wing display. So just very quickly, I'll put some stuff out here. If we go to the wing display tab here for markers, wing display, we can drag out here like an ID marker. And each of these pieces for the aircraft and for the ID markers and many such things are meant for you to label them however you want. Thankfully, you don't have to find and drag the specific A, B, or C that you need to find. You just pull out a generic one and you label it yourself. Shortcuts are great. Keyboard shortcuts are great for this module. If you select a piece, you can right-click and find a menu, but sometimes it's a bit cumbersome. I like to just use the keyboard shortcuts like Control-L to label, or Control+T to change the type. Now, type is something you won't see on an ID marker in the physical game, and this is just a little efficient tool so that if you're playing a scenario where aircraft are a variant that's important, you can type that in here. So when I hit Control+T, it brings up type, and I can just delete that, hit OK. That disappears, and then if I do Control+I, I can change the ID and make this say A. So there's ID A. I can flip it, Control+F. There's alerted, there's unalerted. And go over here to my missions, bring in a intercept mission, and then I can bring over, it's just an aircraft. Let's find a British Spitfire here. All right, and this one, you can see the Spitfire. There's all the different paint schemes for the aircraft that are in the game. You can rotate through them. You can see in this menu right there, paint scheme, Control plus P, to just kind of shuffle through them. So you can see I'm just kind of going through all the different schemes, find the one that you like, and then you'll need to give it an ID. So hit Control I, assign an A. So this is A Squadron, and this is their wing display that I'm setting up. And you just drag these out onto the map. And there we go. We've got pieces on the board. And if you're at all familiar with Vassal, you know basic functions of clicking, moving, stacking, and using the right-click functions. So what many of you may not be familiar with is how to use log files to play by email. And I will seek to demonstrate that here very briefly, how to start a log file, how to insert your own content into a log file, and how to end a log file. So I'm going to delete this piece. Actually, I'm just going to close this game. Let's see that. I'm going to load a game. I will show you how this works for loading up a log file. So here is a listing of log files that I'm playing currently with an opponent. And I can see that one of the useful function for when you're naming your log files to send, you want to add some kind of number to the log file to keep them in order. So here's the last log file from my opponent. If I double click this, it loads up the log file. And I can see all the pieces here on the map. Zoom in to get a little closer look. And then if I click this step forward button, this is going to take me step by step through the log file that my opponent sent me. So here is my opponent, Elias. He is about to make some tally attempts. He's saying Q on A. So here's his Q, trying to tally my A. He clicks the roll dice button. He got a 3. And he declares, no, that was a fail. He needed a 5 or greater, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to tally that. And so he keeps playing his log file, P on A, and basically you can just click this button all the way through or hit the page down button, as I like to do, to just scroll through. And you can see that his piece flight just tallied my squadron. And he used a very useful feature in the Vassal module. Rather than dragging out a tally marker, which they are in the game, they're just a little difficult to use. Here we go, here's a tally. So he could have, brought out a tally marker, gave it the correct letter, and stuck that on my squadron, like you would in the physical game. But these are a bit cumbersome to have to keep moving around. So rather than use those, you can use this built-in, I don't know if you can see that, let me zoom in a little bit. You can use a built-in feature of the counters where you can show who has a tally on your squadron simply by using this function right here, icons tallied by blue, yellow, green, or red. You can select the color you want. So yellow, because he's using the yellow wing display, I indicate a yellow P on my squadron to indicate that this yellow P right here has a tally on me. And these are accessed easily by using Control-Alt-Y for yellow, Control-Alt-B for blue. You get the picture. And I can change this to be a different letter. And so then I keep hitting scroll down to take him through his log file. Now, what's nice with log files is that as you're going through, you can begin your own simply by clicking File, Begin Log File, and you can do this in the middle of the current log file you're going through, and you can kind of notice that on this log file I'm going through, you see a message that I typed in, because what he did is in my last log file I sent him, he started his own log file while in the midst of going through mine, and then he can add his comments, continue with my log file, and it's logging both his comments and my original comments from my log file, and it just makes for an easy way to interact or correct something. If I did something wrong, my opponent can let me know, and it works surprisingly well. Wingleader is an easy system to use for play by email. So to just illustrate starting a log file, let's say that I don't know, let me get an example here. Let me keep paging through his log file. There we go. Okay, and we get all the way to the end. Zoom out so you can see a better idea what's going on here. Okay, so at this point, there's a weird bug in here where it started cycling through to his original Vassal log, but we'll ignore that. Let's say I wanted to say, no, that your P actually didn't tally my A because of some modifier you didn't think about. I can start my own log file, click File. And this is the same, what you would do at the end of someone else's log file or during, whenever you want to. Click Begin Log File. Scroll down into my list, name it, which I've already got some log files here, so I'm just showing you. And then once you name it, here, I'll go ahead and just make another one in here. I'll call this 55. Click Save. Now at this point, you'll notice that it's logging to that file name. And then I can make adjustments. I can say I'm going to get rid of that P because you did not tally me. You did not tally me because XYZ kind of thing. Explain your reasoning, and you can do your movements for your log file, whatever you want to do. And then when you're done, click File, End Log File. Your log file has been created. You can browse to that log file, slap it in an email, upload it to Dropbox, what have you, and you're off to the races. So I hope to be doing more videos using Vassal. I think it'll be easier to show and illustrate and teach the game. But for now, these are maybe the best things to get you started. One other thing I wanted to show you regarding these tally markers. These, in addition, there's another feature which is very helpful to use in Vassal, which is the climb and dive indicators. Rather than dragging those out like this, indicate they're diving, it's often easier just to use Control-Alt-D and Control-Alt-C. You can kind of see on that marker, it adds a red up arrow for climb or a green down arrow for dive. And it's just an aesthetically pleasing way to, an easy to use system for Vassal. Keeps the map uncluttered, as uncluttered as possible, and it just looks better. I like it. So, and then one other thing, you may notice there's labels on some of these pieces. Like this one says Dimitri plus GCI5. I like to label the pieces with the feature Control-L right there, label, to put the radio net, and if they're controlled by GCI and what GCI rating it is, put that, label it on the counter. Makes it easy to see on the map. You don't have to go look at your win display or look at the scenario booklet to figure out which radio net these guys are on. That just makes for a much easier experience. So there you have just a little bit about Vassal, and I will be using this going forward to illustrate and post more winglier content for you. And if you've got questions, you can go ahead and post them in the comments. I would love to help make this easier for you to use. And we will go from there. So yeah, post any comments, any questions you may have about the Vassal module, and I'd be happy to show you in future videos. But for now, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.